A Harmony of the Gospels for Students of the Life of Christ by A.T. Robertson. Part 2, The Pre-Existent State of Christ and His Incarnation. So, just like the rest of us, existing spiritually before being put in physical bodies. 2, in his introduction, John pictures Christ as the Word, Logos, so in a Gnostic way. John chapter 1, verse 1 to 18. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that hath been made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness apprehendeth it not. There came a man sent from God, whose name was John. The same came for witness, that he might bear witness of the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came that he might bear witness of the light. There was the true light, even the light, which lighteth every man coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. But he came into his own, and they that were his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he the right to become children of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh, and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, glory as of the only begotten from the Father, full of grace and truth. John beareth witness of him, and crieth, saying, This was he of whom I said, He that cometh after me is become before me, for he was before me. For of his fullness we all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given by Moses, grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. No man hath seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. And the only begotten, many very ancient authorities read God only begotten. And there's over 10,000 variants in what we call the New Testament. Before me are first in regard of me. This was he. Some ancient authorities read this was that he said, the only begotten from the Father are an only begotten from a Father. Okay, that, they're working on making Jesus sound more and more divine as the time went on, obviously, and dwelt among us, tabernacled. Well, an omnu-all is a type of prophet. They dwell among the people for divinity. Any of that al, yah, Ea, El ending names, it's belonging to God. And we move further up, the blood, the bloods. Okay, so, it's not just about one individual, it's multiple individuals and what they've done. Born or begotten. Then we kind of skip over, because that looks like one by him, or through. We have or anything being made, was not anything made. That which hath been made in was life in him, and the life, etc. So overcame. Where's the note 3? Okay, apprehended. So instead of apprehended, we have overcame, and there was true light, or the true light, which light of every man, or was coming. So light bringer would literally be a Lucifer, his own things. Okay, so by him, that's not supposed to be 1, that's supposed to be 5. So, or every man he cometh, or through. Okay, where's the first note? Okay, by him, through him. Okay. The fourth gospel makes no further use of the term logos, word for Christ. No other gospel employs the term, but in 1 John chapter 1, verse 1, we find the word of life in this sense, and in Revelation 19, verse 14, we have, and his name is called the Word of God. The Greek word has a double sense, reason and speech. God seems, and John, they're not really saying that they're inspired. They thought it would be a good idea to work these stories together. And John seems to have both ideas in mind. Chapter 1, verse 18, Christ is the idea of God and the expression of God. The Stoics followed Plato in the philosophical use of logos. Philo took it up and made it familiar to Jewish readers. And it might, historical Judaism didn't exist at that time, but Philo kind of pushed things closer to the Judaism that we recognize that the Maccabees followed, who were already used to the Hebrew memra word in a personal sense, but John carried the term further than any of his predecessors and placed it on a par with Messiah, which is a term for a secondary figure, Son of God, a metaphor for a secondary figure, Son of Man. Well, the Bible's not always nice about the concept of the Son of Man. Saurat, for example, 666, it equals. Some people think the whole 666 thing is a biblical joke. And other phrases that portray aspects of the person of Christ. John writes his gospel to prove the deity of Jesus. John chapter 20, verse 31, against Gnostics, Corinthian, who denied it. So the Gnostics predate the Christians. As he wrote his first epistle, 1 John chapter 1, verse 1 to 4, to prove the humanity of Jesus against the dogmatic Gnostics who disclaimed it. See note 3 at the end of the harmony. So we also see that the Christian Gospels were competing with stuff that happened before in regards to this individual, or the collection that we know as Jesus.